For the last few weeks, we've been looking at the 12 powers. And I mentioned to you that we started 2 weeks ago with the power of faith and strength. And we spoke about how these powers are things that we actually have that are aspects of each one of us always. And at times, just like if you were running a department or a household even, that there are times when certain areas take precedence because it's the right thing for them to do. And then at other times, a different area might take precedence because that's what it takes to function well. And in much the same way, we have these innate powers, these inbuilt powers within us that we can use to form full and abundant lives. And the way we would do that is occasionally to activate some powers more than others, and they all kind of come together in this dance. It's like fitting a jigsaw puzzle together, and sometimes this piece needs to be a little bigger than that, and at other times it's the other way around. But to the extent that we can make these dance well together, that we can fit together the pieces of the tapestry so that they fit perfectly. Or like, remember those fun toys we used to have, which you turn around, I'm trying to think of the name of it, a kaleidoscope, where you'd look and within the same framework you get all these different things at different times. Well, in that same way, to the extent that we can work with these powers and activate them in various degrees, we create a world and a life that feels full and abundant and purpose-filled and joyful. And these parts of us, we've identified, or Charles Fillmore identified them as being part of our bodies. And so we began our exploration by looking at faith and strength. And how when you have faith in something, that sometimes you need the strength of your conviction to stand up tall. And so what you see in the body is that faith is buried deep in your brain, and strength is in your spine. And it is the backbone that allows you to stand straight and tall in the strength of your conviction. And that sometimes it is just as strong, if not more strong, true strength, to recognize that there's something that you've placed faith in that needs to shift. And so strength includes flexibility. So that was week 1. And then last week we looked at our ability to release and our ability to generate new opportunities, new life. And we identified that as being in our abdomen, the place where our body rids itself of waste and the place where our body generates new life. And today, we're going to look at another pair of these powers. And today, we're going to look at the power of order and the power of excitement, also known as zeal. Zeal just seems like such an old-fashioned word, though, doesn't it? So I think of it as excitement, because I can understand that better. My brain wraps around that a little bit more easily. And so we look at order and zeal. And why do I decide that these need to be paired together? Well, because it's so easy to overextend in one, underextend in another, and as a result, find that our dreams don't work the way we want them to. And so when we pair order, our ability to organize, our ability to take a step-by-step approach to a goal, if we pair that with our ability to be excited by something, then we can bring the things that we're excited about to life. And so that is why I suggest that we should be pairing those together. So where do we find order? It's in your lower belly, like just your belly button and a little lower. That place where everything needs to function well or you're going to get yourself stuck, so to speak. I don't need to draw you that picture. Right. The color that we associate colors with these powers too. And the color that we associate with order is olive green, which is awesome, because I'm sure that happened like years and years and years ago, but I think of olive green as being the color of those hanging file folders that you see. And what do? They help us to organize. So it's easy to remember order. Anytime you see the color olive green, just think, how am I doing with being organized? So, order, olive green. Orange is way up here, the back of your spine in the area called the medulla oblongata, if you really want to know. The color that we associate is orange. And that's awesome, because it's juicy. Think of an orange, squeezing the juice and the fun and the tastiness out of life. And so for me, these are two really easy colors to remember, because they make sense. And I love that zeal, energy, enthusiasm, is located in the neck. Because it's here that we look around and go, ooh, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting. And so even that becomes easy for us to remember. So we're going to take a quick look today at order and then at enthusiasm and how they can match together. And I'm looking at Diane in her orange, and she just looks like enthusiasm right there. So let's talk about, back off, Rhona. Go back to your notes. Back to the order. Let's talk about order first. I mentioned that it is the ability to organize. It's our ability to organize. And think about it. We all have the ability to organize. We do it every day. Every day we get up. We head off to the bathroom, we brush our teeth, we make ourselves breakfast. We do things in an orderly fashion without thinking about it. We are all able to organize. And it makes sense because we are in an orderly universe. And even though it may at times feel and seem as if life is chaotic, often isn't this true that you look back and go, wow, there was actually some order in that chaos. So we have the ability to apply order in our lives. The question is, how do we find the right amount? Because sometimes we can be overly invested in the power of order, an overdeveloped expression of the power of order. And what does that look like? That looks like this must be done this way, or I just can't function. This must be done, this picture must be just exact, or it's going to bother me. It could be to the point where we've even got terms for it. We call them obsessive or OCD. So we want to recognize that order has a place, And there are times when order can be a little overextended. And we want to watch for that. Why? Because once we get to the point where we are requiring those things so much that if we don't get them, they are preventing our joy, our peace, then that's a consequence that we don't want, because it's preventing our enthusiasm for life. It creates anxiety for ourselves, so that doesn't serve us well. And the whole point of this is to have these powers serve us, not us serve the power. So, overdeveloped order can look like inflexibility, can look like, I have to have it this way, I don't like surprises, I know that Joe just called and said, hey, I've got tickets to the ball game this afternoon, but I had planned to do the dishes, so I'm not going to be able to go. I'm making an extreme example, and yet, at an extreme level, it's not actually that out of the possibility, out of the realm of possibility, that when we have overdeveloped order, it means that we are less willing to just say, I know this is what I planned, and I'm going to let it go because this sounds cool. Which leads me to underdeveloped order, which is when you do that so much that you get nothing done. And I know that some of us can identify with that, where everything is so loosey-goosey that you end up at the end of the day feeling irritated with yourself because nothing's been done. People who are underdeveloped in this, or whose power to order may be considered underdeveloped, will say things like, I'm not organized, I'm disorganized, I don't know how to organize. They also have difficulty adjusting to change. They also find that things are frustrating for them because it's hard to find things in the chaos. Their environments might be messy. They may promise that they know where everything is on that desk, but take 20 minutes to find it. And there's a part of them then that is blaming themselves for not knowing where everything is. And so that is not an ideal use of our power of order either. In both cases, whether it's overly developed or underdeveloped, when order is not orderly and in its right place, then it leads to a place where it limits our fun. It limits our fun. We are unwilling to take advantage of unplanned opportunities that may present themselves, or we end up getting frustrated with ourselves for spending way too much time finding something that's at the bottom of a pile, and that doesn't feel right either. Doesn't feel good either. And so the idea here is, just as I mentioned before last week, that we want to find that Goldilocks zone, that we want to know when it's time to activate our power to organize. And what does that look like? Because what's true is when we under-organize, then all those dreams that we got excited about don't happen. And that feels kind of yuck too. Well, Newton's first law of motion, remember I went to school to be a scientist, excuse me, is an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. What does that mean in English? It means that it takes a lot of energy to get something going, and once it's going, you feel like you're on a roll. It takes more energy actually to slow it down. Once it's moving, it's easy to keep going. And I'm seeing some chuckles because people are probably recognizing some of that in themselves. So, using that Sir Isaac Newton's wisdom from the 1800s or whenever it was, what can we learn? We learn to trick ourselves if we're in a place of underdeveloped order, to get ourselves just started. Because getting started is the hardest part. And I don't know what it's like for you guys, but I am the master of procrastination. So I know I have to prepare a talk for Sunday. When am I doing it? Saturday night. What am I doing Saturday morning, Friday afternoon? Shopping. You know, going for lunch with my sister. Like anything other than the thing that will actually reduce a certain amount of anxiety, because I know I got to prepare. It's an illogical thing. Procrastination is not a logical thing, and we all do it. And so, what do we need to do if we want to fix that? Well, who knows what would work for you, but I know what works for me. If I choose to fix it, choose to change it, I find that I play a game with myself. I set a timer for 10 minutes. Now I tell Alexa to set a timer for 10 minutes. And then I give myself 10 minutes. I'm only going to do this for 10 minutes. And it's like just getting over the hump of getting started. That really, really makes a huge difference. Because then, of course, the timer goes off and now I'm in the middle of it and it's kind of fun. I don't want to change. So try something like that. Find some little trick that works for you, that allows you to place things in a certain amount of order. And next time you say no to something that may be an unexpected opportunity, invite yourself to question whether or not this really needs to be or no. Or am I willing to be more flexible, and will I still get my goals done for the day or for the week or whatever it might be? Another idea is to do one important but not urgent thing. Just one in a week. And do it early in the week so it's checked off. By important, not urgent, I'm thinking of things like making sure that your will is up to date, making sure that family members know where to find certain things if anything happens to you. Those things that, insurance and all that stuff that is not orange and exciting but needs to be done. Just do one a week. See how that feels. And when you're planning your week, don't wait until Monday morning to plan your week if you're in a Monday to Friday environment. Plan it on Friday afternoon or Saturday morning so that you can enjoy the weekend knowing you got this. when Monday morning comes around. So that's order. Now, dial back to travel up your body to the medulla oblongata, to the base of your neck, and think of all the things that excite you. All the things that you go, oh, I want to do that. Have you ever had that feeling of sizzle, like you just get so excited and you're all in until you're not? You sizzle until you fizzle? Not mine. I really wish I'd thought of those words. But they're good, so I'm going to use them. Sizzle instead of fizzle. This is where you can use order, because if you have an overdeveloped idea of power of sizzle, of enthusiasm, you'll get interested in everything. And so interested in it that you'll be all in on it and insist that everyone around you be in on it too. And sometimes that's great, and sometimes you fizzle, and then they're like, okay, so what's the next flavor of the month? And so that's not a good use of your enthusiasm. Or you can have an underdeveloped sense of enthusiasm, and that's the, how are you? I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. Every time you say I'm okay, anything that you say after I'm, make it good. Make it exciting. Because you're calling that and naming that as who you are and how you're choosing to be. And so I'm so excited to see so many people in costume because it's fun and it's exciting. And I know that it's not comfortable for everyone to be in costume, and that's okay. We need people who are sidewalk, what did you call it, Lidwina? Sidewalk pedestrians today, too. She did. I'm not making it up. The thing is, it's okay. Because you're having fun looking at everyone else. And if that's the level of fun that excites you, that's enough. It's enough. And so the one thing I definitely don't want is for people to feel like I'm blaming or shaming. No. For some people, this is very much out of their comfort zone. For other people, seeing people in costume can be out of their comfort zone. And so that part isn't as important as just knowing what it is that lights you up, what it is that you're longing for, what it is that you're dreaming about. Whether it's creating beautiful music or writing a novel, creating a webinar, being a person who does amazing meals, like chef-type meals, or whether it's just being there for your family as if that's a just. What is it that lights you up, that makes you excited? And what steps can you take to apply order so that you can fulfill that excitement? So that your sizzle doesn't fizzle. Take, for example, the idea that you'd like to become a chef. Well, dreaming about it is the first step. That's the thing that lights you up. Order then comes into play when you get on the internet and find out if there are any classes close by. Order is what says, I'm going to sign up. Order is what says, I'm going to attend. And I've attended and I've completed. And it's when we apply order and passion together, when we work them together, that is when our dreams become fulfilled. I've always wanted to be a minister. I've always been passionate about that. It took a ton of order and a ton of, I don't know, kind of waiting in the wilderness for a while before it actually happened. And so my invitation to you is that you think about what it is that's juicy, that excites you. And then ask yourself, what am I going to do? What steps can I take that are reasonable, achievable, small, 10 minutes, to move me towards my dream? You have that power. You have that power. Live your dream. Do what you love what you do, and create a plan to make your dream come true. I bless you.